night was quiet. A gentle hush had fallen over the world. The only sound was the soft rhythm of the waves, rolling in from the vast, endless ocean. Under the pale glow of a full moon, the ocean stretched out like a blanket of shimmering silver, its surface reflecting the stars above. It was as if the whole sky had dipped its toes into the sea, sharing its light with the deep, still waters below. A soft breeze carried the fresh scent of salt and seaweed, wrapping around everything in a tender embrace. The air was warm, the kind of warmth that only the ocean can bring, gentle, soothing, like the kind of hug you never want to leave. Somewhere far beneath the waves, in the very heart of the ocean, there lived something ancient and wise. It was the heart of the sea itself, beating in a rhythm older than time, keeping the ocean alive, vibrant, and full of stories. But tonight, it was not just the sound of the waves that would fill the air. It was the whispers of the ocean's heart, calling out to those who were ready to listen. As you close your eyes and feel the cool, soft breeze, imagine yourself by the water's edge, with the moon above, and the ocean's heart beating just below the surface. The waves are calling you, inviting you to embark on a peaceful journey. No need to hurry, just breathe deeply, and let the ocean's lullaby carry you away into a deep, peaceful sleep. For tonight, the ocean's heart will share its story. Long, long ago, before the world knew time, the earth was a quiet and untouched place. The land was barren and the sky was still. But deep in the heavens, a gentle storm began to form, one that would change everything. It started with a single drop of water, small yet powerful, falling from the clouds. This drop held within it the essence of everything: the light of the sun, the whispers of the winds, the warmth of the earth, and the coolness of the sky. It fell slowly, dancing in the air before it kissed the earth below. And when it touched the land, the earth welcomed it with open arms, cradling it in its soil, while the skies above released more drops in a soft, steady shower. This rain was the first gift of life, the beginning of all things. As more drops gathered, they formed the oceans, deep and endless. The water spread across the earth, creating rivers and lakes, filling every corner with life. But it wasn't just the rain that made the ocean special. It was the way it moved, the way the water seemed to breathe. The waves rolled gently, rising and falling in a slow, peaceful rhythm, as though the ocean itself was alive. And deep beneath the waves, at the very center of the ocean, something magical began to stir. It was a feeling, something ancient, something that could not be seen, but could be felt in the very pulse of the sea. This feeling grew, deep within the heart of the ocean, until it became something greater than just water. It became the ocean's heart. The heart was made of all the emotions the ocean had ever carried: joy from the sun warming its surface, sorrow from the storms that had once raged across it, love from the creatures that swam through its depths, and loss from the tides that carried memories of times long past. It was a heart full of every story the ocean had ever known, each wave carrying a whisper of the past. The heart of the ocean was not just a thing, it was a living force. It was the heartbeat of the earth itself, a reminder of all that had come before, and all that was yet to come. As it pulsed with life, the ocean became not only a place of water, but a keeper of secrets, a source of calm, and a refuge for all who needed its peace. And so, the ocean's heart beat on, steady and constant, filling the world with its deep, soothing rhythm. It was the first sound that the earth ever knew, the sound of life itself. And even now, when you close your eyes and listen to the waves, you can hear it still. The ancient, quiet heartbeat of the ocean, calling you into a peaceful sleep, where dreams are carried on the waves of time. The ocean's heart, glowing softly in the deep, was not left unprotected. It needed guardians, creatures who would watch over it, honor it, and keep it safe from the world above. These guardians, ancient and wise, had lived alongside the heart for as long as the ocean had been alive. They understood the importance of its rhythm, for the heart was not just a source of life for the ocean, but for the entire world. And so, each guardian had a special role to play in the care and protection of this sacred, beating force. First, there were the whales, ancient and magnificent, the largest creatures in the ocean. Their great, towering bodies moved with a grace that belied their size. The whales had been entrusted with the task of carrying the stories of the sea. With each deep dive and each powerful breach, they spoke to the ocean, sharing the wisdom of ages, the tales of lands far and wide, of calm mornings and stormy nights. They traveled far and wide, from the warm tropical waters to the icy depths, bringing the heartbeat of the ocean wherever they went. Their songs were slow and deep, echoing through the waters, and they carried the pulse of the ocean's heart in every note. These songs were not just music, but a prayer that kept the ocean's heart steady, that kept it alive. Next, there were the dolphins, joyful and playful, who danced through the waves with an energy that was contagious. They were the keepers of the ocean's lightness, its laughter, and its playfulness. The dolphins had been given the responsibility of protecting the heart's peaceful energy. Their cheerful leaps and spins through the waves spread joy to all who encountered them. They guided lost travelers through the waters, showing them the way to safety and sharing with them the peace of the ocean's heart. The dolphins' giggles echoed through the deep, a reminder that the heart of the ocean was a place of calm, of rest, and of freedom. The sea turtles, ancient and wise, were the silent protectors of the ocean's heart. They moved slowly and deliberately, gliding through the currents with an elegance that spoke of patience. These creatures were the keepers of time. They had witnessed countless sunrises and sunsets, and had seen the ocean's heart through both peaceful days and violent storms. The sea turtles were the ones who made sure the ocean's rhythm remained steady, even in times of change. They knew the true depth of the ocean's wisdom, and they carried it with them wherever they went, moving in harmony with the heartbeat of the sea. And then there were the jellyfish, ethereal and glowing, lighting the way to the heart. They were the gentle guides, illuminating the dark waters with their soft, glowing pulses. These jellyfish were the most peaceful of the guardians, their presence barely felt, yet always reassuring. They swam gracefully in the deep, carrying with them the light of the moon. and guiding all who were lost in the darkness of the ocean. When the waters became too murky, or when a storm clouded the way, the jellyfish would appear, glowing softly in the dark depths, showing the way towards safety and tranquility. They were the keepers of calm in the depths of the sea, their light a reminder that even in darkness, peace could be found. Together, these guardians formed a circle around the heart of the ocean, each playing their part to ensure that the heart remained steady and true. They were not just protectors of the ocean, but of the stories, the peace, and the rhythm that flowed through its waters. The whales, dolphins, turtles, and jellyfish worked in harmony, each of them a unique thread in the vast tapestry of the ocean's life. As the night deepens and the waves continue their lullaby, remember that these guardians are always watching, always listening, and always protecting the heart of the sea. And if you ever feel lost or restless, all you need to do is close your eyes and trust the rhythm of the ocean, for the guardians are there, guiding you to a place of peace. As the waves gently kiss the shore, a quiet call stirs the air, inviting you on a journey. It is a journey not of the body, but of the mind and spirit, a peaceful voyage into the very depths of the ocean, where the heart of the sea beats its ancient rhythm. And so, with each slow, calming breath, you begin to drift. The water around you feels warm, as if the ocean itself is wrapping you in its embrace. The moon's soft glow glistens on the surface, casting shimmering patterns on the water. With every passing wave, you float further from the shore, moving deeper into the ocean's gentle current. The sound of the waves becomes a steady, soothing rhythm, guiding you along the way. You are not alone on this journey. Beneath the surface, the creatures of the sea swim with you, their presence a silent reassurance that you are safe and protected. The first to greet you are the dolphins, their playful spirits bubbling to the surface as they leap joyfully over the water. Their bright eyes twinkle with delight as they guide you along, their laughter echoing in the soft winds. The dolphins circle around you, inviting you to follow their path through the gentle waves. They lead you toward deeper waters, where the heartbeat of the ocean can be felt more strongly, pulsing through the very air you breathe. As you move further into the ocean, the water grows even softer, the waves slower and more melodic. It is as if the ocean is responding to your every thought, gently guiding you forward. Soon, you come upon the whales, their massive forms gliding effortlessly through the water. Their deep songs resonate through the waves, their voices low and steady, like the rumble of distant thunder. The whales sing of ancient times, of the creation of the ocean and the birth of its heart. Their songs echo through your being, filling you with a sense of peace that feels timeless, as if you've known this melody forever. With each song they sing, the ocean's heartbeat grows louder, drawing you closer. The journey becomes not one of distance, but of connection, a deeper bond with the rhythms of nature, with the wisdom that the ocean's heart holds. The water is clear now, and you can see all around you, the world beneath the waves alive with color and light. Schools of fish dart playfully, the soft glow of jellyfish illuminating the darkening waters with their gentle, pulsing light. Their glow is like a beacon, showing the way forward, guiding you to the very center of the ocean. As you move closer, the currents slow, and the water grows even warmer. You feel a deep sense of calm settle within you, a quiet understanding that this journey is not about reaching the destination, but about the peace found along the way. The sea turtles glide silently beside you, their steady movements a reminder to slow down, to breathe, to be present in this moment. Time seems to stand still as you move further into the ocean, closer to the heart that beats beneath the surface. Now the ocean is quiet, save for the soft murmur of the waves and the distant songs of the whales. The world around you feels endless and vast, but in this moment, you are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be, drifting toward the heart of the ocean. The rhythm of the waves matches the rhythm of your breath, and you realize that the heart of the ocean is not a faraway place. It is within you, and you are already there. In this serene stillness, you are fully connected to the ocean, to the world, and to yourself. The journey has led you not just to the heart of the sea, but to a deeper understanding of the peaceful force that lies within you, as constant and steady as the ocean's heartbeat. As the journey continues, you know that the heart of the ocean is always there, waiting to welcome you back whenever you need its calm embrace. For now, you are content to let the rhythm of the water carry you, knowing that in the depths of the sea, peace resides, an eternal, calming presence, always flowing, always there. As you glide deeper into the tranquil waters, the world around you seems to slow down, each wave gently lapping at your thoughts. The current becomes softer, almost as if the ocean itself is guiding you with a loving hand, urging you toward a sacred place that lies just beyond sight. The water around you begins to shimmer in a way that feels different, like a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. There's a soft glow beneath the surface, a golden light that dances in the depths. This light is not harsh or bright, but warm and comforting, like the first rays of dawn spilling gently over the horizon. You feel drawn to it, like the tide is pulling you closer, inviting you into its embrace. And then, as you approach, you see it, the heart of the ocean. It isn't a single object, but a presence, a pulse that radiates from deep within the waters. It is soft, steady, and full of life. The very water around it seems to hum with energy, its gentle rhythm syncing with your own heartbeat. The heart of the ocean is not just a place. It is a living, breathing force, full of warmth, wisdom, and love. Its glow feels like the touch of an old friend, an embrace that wraps you in peace and serenity. The ocean's heart pulses slowly, almost as if it is breathing. With each heartbeat, the water seems to swell and recede in perfect harmony, creating a sense of rhythm that resonates deep within you. The closer you come, the stronger the pulse, like a lullaby that calms all worries, all fears. It is a sound you recognize, even if you've never heard it before, an ancient rhythm that feels like home. You feel a sense of deep connection, as though the heart of the ocean is speaking to you, its voice not in words, but in feelings. It speaks of timelessness, of all the stories that have been carried through the currents of the sea. It whispers of love, of change, of loss, and of new beginnings. It holds the wisdom of the ages, the quiet knowledge that everything in the world moves in cycles, always returning, always renewing. As the golden light surrounds you, you feel the water become warmer, gentler. It wraps around you like a soft, comforting blanket. The whispers of the ocean's heart reach deep into your soul, filling you with a sense of calm that is as old as time itself. You realize that this is where all things are made still, where all worries dissolve into the waves, where peace exists in its purest form. The ocean's heart holds no judgment, no fear. It only offers peace, a safe place where you can let go of all that you carry and simply be. There, in the gentle glow of the ocean's heart, you are not just a traveler. You are part of the ocean. Its heartbeat is your own. Its rhythm is yours to follow. In this moment, there is no separation between you and the water, between you and the stories of the sea. You are cradled in its depths, surrounded by its wisdom, embraced by its eternal love. And as you float in the warm, glowing light, the ocean's heart continues to beat, steady and sure, like the pulse of the earth itself. It reassures you, reminding you that no matter where you go, no matter how far you wander, the ocean's heart will always be there, waiting to welcome you home. Its pulse will carry you through every storm, every calm, every season of your life. The ocean's heart is more than a place. It is a reminder that peace and calm are always within reach, as long as you listen for the rhythm of the waves. And with each soft, gentle beat, the ocean's heart whispers its final message to you. You are safe. You are loved. You are always home. As you float gently within the warm embrace of the ocean's heart, you begin to feel a deep sense of comfort wash over you. The soft, rhythmic pulse of the water surrounds you, its steady beat syncing with the rise and fall of your own breath. The golden light that emanates from the ocean's heart continues to glow softly, its warmth seeping into your very soul, melting away any remaining tension. With each gentle breath, the ocean's rhythm becomes more and more soothing. The heart of the sea is not just a place of peace. It is a sanctuary, a sacred space where all worries are carried away on the waves, leaving only calm, only stillness. You are safe here, held by the gentle currents, surrounded by the timeless love of the ocean. As the heart of the ocean beats, it offers you a gift, its gift of peace and restful sleep. It whispers softly, "Rest now, little one." Let the waves carry you into dreams. Let the warmth of the ocean's embrace soothe your body and mind. The ocean's heart knows that, in this moment, you are ready to surrender to the quiet, to the calm, to the deep stillness that only the sea can provide. The sound of the waves grows softer, almost imperceptible now, like a lullaby sung in the distance. You feel your body relax even further, your muscles softening, your thoughts slowing down. There is nothing you need to do. There is nowhere you need to go. The ocean's heart has given you the greatest gift of all, the gift of rest. As you drift deeper into the embrace of the water, the ocean cradles you like a child, guiding you toward peaceful slumber. The heartbeat of the ocean grows slower, more distant, like the steady ticking of a clock that marks the passing of time in the most gentle way. You are not alone. You are surrounded by the soothing presence of the ocean, its heart beating for you, carrying you through the waters of sleep. In the quiet of the ocean's heart, you find the stillness you have been seeking. The peacefulness of the sea washes over you, wrapping you in warmth, in safety, in love. The ocean's heart whispers once more, "You are safe here. You are loved here." Let the peaceful waters carry you into dreams as sweet and gentle as the waves themselves. And so, as the golden light fades softly into the distance, as the ocean's heartbeat continues its steady pulse, you surrender fully to the calm of the sea. Your body is light, your heart at peace, your mind at rest. The ocean's rhythm becomes the rhythm of your dreams, guiding you gently into the world of sleep, where you will be held in the ocean's embrace throughout the night. For tonight, and every night, the ocean's heart will be with you, keeping you safe, keeping you calm, and offering you the peaceful sleep that only the sea can provide. And as you rest, know that the ocean will always be there, its heart beating steadily, waiting to guide you home whenever you need to return. nestled at the foot of mist-shrouded hills. The village of Nuralin was a place where the earth whispered ancient tales, and the wind sang songs of the past. Life here moved with the gentle rhythm of nature, seasons changing in their time, the crops growing in harmony with the soil, and the villagers living in quiet contentment. But there was one part of their world that remained untouched, a place both revered and feared: the forest grove. The forest grove was a sprawling wilderness that lay just beyond the village's borders, an untamed expanse of towering trees, thick undergrowth, and an air that seemed to shimmer with a strange energy. The villagers spoke of it often, but not in the light-hearted tones one might reserve for an ordinary forest. It was the subject of hushed conversations and wary glances. Whispers of the forest's deep magic swirled like a fog in the village, and though many were drawn to its beauty, few dared to step beyond the edge. It was said that the forest grove held secrets, secrets older than the village itself, older than any living being could recall. Some believed the forest was alive with ancient forces, its roots entwined with the very fabric of the earth, its branches reaching toward realms unseen. Others, more cautious, warned of dangers, of strange occurrences that befell those who ventured too far. Yet no one seemed to know for sure, for none had dared to venture deep enough to uncover the truth. Among the villagers was Alara, a young woman whose spirit could never be satisfied by the ordinary rhythms of life. From a young age, she had been fascinated by the grove, its dark silhouette looming in the distance, calling to her in ways she couldn't explain. Unlike most, who kept a safe distance, Alara often found herself gazing toward the forest's edge, wondering what mysteries it might hold. The old stories told of the trees that whispered in the wind, of creatures that flitted between the shadows, and of a hidden heart deep within the forest, a place of power and magic. But Alara didn't fear the unknown. Instead, she felt a pull, a deep, inexplicable connection to the grove. It was as if the forest had been waiting for her, just as she had been waiting for it. She had heard the warnings, of course, tales of lost travelers, of strange lights flickering in the twilight, and the eerie silence that overtook the grove at night. Yet none of it could quell the fire of curiosity that burned within her grandmother, a wise woman who had seen many seasons pass, had always told her that some mysteries were better left unsolved. "The forest has its own rhythm, Alara," she would say, her voice tinged with the weight of unspoken knowledge. "It does not open its secrets to just anyone. It reveals them when the time is right." But Alara felt that the time had come. She could no longer resist the pull of the forest. It beckoned to her like a whisper on the wind, and this time she would answer. The hidden heart of the forest grove, its magic, its secrets, was waiting to be uncovered, and Alara was determined to be the one to unlock its mysteries. One evening, as the sun dipped low behind the hills, and the first stars began to pierce the twilight sky, Alara made a decision. She would walk into the heart of the grove, beyond the borders of the known, and discover what lay hidden within. The ancient forest was calling her, and she could not ignore its summons any longer. as the days grew shorter and the village of Nuralin sank deeper into the embrace of autumn, the forest seemed to grow even more mysterious. The wind, once gentle, now whispered through the branches in urgent tones, as if the trees themselves were trying to communicate something unknown. The pull Alara felt toward the forest grove became impossible to ignore. Each passing day, a reminder of the adventure that awaited. One evening, as she wandered near the edge of the village, Alara spotted an elderly traveler slowly making his way along the worn path that led into the woods. His weathered cloak billowed slightly in the breeze, and his staff, adorned with strange symbols, gleamed faintly in the twilight. He appeared as though he had been journeying for many years, his face etched with the wisdom of 1,000 stories. Alara, drawn by an instinct she couldn't explain, approached him. The old man's eyes met hers with an intensity that sent a shiver through her. They were sharp and clear, yet there was a deep sadness within them, as though he had seen things others could not. Without a word, he smiled gently, as though he had been expecting her. "The forest grove calls to you, does it not?" he said, his voice soft but filled with knowing. Alara's heart skipped a beat. "How did you?" "I've walked many paths in my time," the old man interrupted, his gaze unwavering. "And I know when the land speaks to one who is destined to hear it." He paused, as though choosing his words carefully. "But beware, child. The forest is not a place for the faint of heart. It holds truths that are not always easy to bear." Alara stood still, feeling both a sense of dread and exhilaration stir within her. The old man's warning was not one of fear, but of something deeper, an acknowledgement that the journey she was about to undertake would forever change her. "Why does it call to me?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. The traveler smiled, though his eyes remained somber. "The forest grove has a way of recognizing those who are meant to uncover its secrets. You are not the first to feel its pull, nor will you be the last. But be warned, child. The forest does not reveal its truths without a price." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. Alara's mind raced. What could the forest hold that would require a price? Yet the question seemed insignificant compared to the weight of what he had said. The forest had called to her. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Before Alara could respond, the traveler raised his hand, offering her a small, intricately carved stone. It was smooth and cool to the touch, glimmering with a faint, otherworldly light. "This will guide you," he said, his voice low. "But it is not a guarantee of safety. The path you choose now will shape everything that follows." Alara took the stone, feeling its weight in her palm. For a moment, she stood frozen, her thoughts swirling. But then, something inside her hardened with determination. She knew, without a doubt, that this was the beginning of something far greater than she could have ever imagined. "Thank you," she said softly, tucking the stone into the folds of her cloak. With a final nod, the old man turned and disappeared into the twilight, leaving Alara alone with her thoughts. The village behind her was now distant, its lights a soft glow against the darkness. Before her lay the forest grove, shrouded in mystery, its edges just within reach. With a deep breath, Alara stepped forward, her heart beating with both fear and excitement. The call had come. She could feel it in the air, in the ground beneath her feet. She was no longer a mere observer of the forest's mysteries. She was about to become a part of them. The forest awaited. As Alara stepped into the shadow of the trees, a hush seemed to fall over the land. The sounds of the village, laughter, chatter, the clinking of tools faded away, replaced by the quiet murmur of the forest. It was as if the world outside the grove no longer existed, and the ancient woods had claimed her as its own. The air felt thick, charged with an unseen energy, and the earthy scent of moss and damp leaves filled her senses. The path before her was narrow, winding between tall, gnarled trees whose branches intertwined to form a canopy of deep green. Every few steps, the sunlight filtered through the thick foliage, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. Despite its beauty, there was something unsettling about the silence that enveloped her. The usual sounds of birds and animals seemed distant, muffled, as though the creatures of the forest had gone into hiding, watching her with unseen eyes. Alara walked slowly, the weight of the small stone in her pocket, a constant reminder of the journey she had begun. The traveler's words echoed in her mind. The forest holds truths that are not always easy to bear. She couldn't shake the feeling that the forest was alive, watching her every move. The trees, their trunks twisted and knotted, seemed to lean toward her as if they were trying to speak, their branches creaking in the wind. Yet, no matter how much she looked, she saw no creatures, no signs of life beyond the rustling leaves. After a while, the path began to curve, leading her deeper into the grove. The trees grew taller, their bark blackened by age, their roots twisting like veins beneath the earth. The air grew cooler, and the light grew dimmer as the canopy thickened, filtering out more of the sun's rays. The stone in her pocket seemed to pulse with warmth, as if responding to the energy of the forest. Alara's senses sharpened with each step. The quiet was not an absence of sound, but a deeper presence, a symphony of nature that vibrated beneath the surface. She could feel it in her bones, the hum of the earth, the gentle rustle of the leaves, the faintest whisper of a breeze. It was as though the forest itself was singing to her, a song older than time. But as she ventured further, she began to notice strange things, subtle, almost imperceptible shifts in the environment around her. The shadows seemed to flicker, shifting just out of her line of sight. Every now and then, a faint glow would appear in the distance, vanishing the moment she turned to look. The ground beneath her feet, once solid, seemed to shift in places, as though the earth itself was breathing. Suddenly, Alara stopped. The air around her felt charged, and for a moment she couldn't move. A strange sound, like the rustle of wings, echoed through the trees. She turned, but saw nothing, only the thick underbrush, undisturbed and still. Her heart quickened. Was it the wind? Or was something watching her from the shadows? A few steps further, and the trees began to thin, opening into a small clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a magnificent tree, unlike any Alara had ever seen. Its bark was a rich, golden hue, and its roots spiraled outward in intricate patterns. almost as if they were reaching for the sky. Above, the tree's branches spread wide, forming an intricate web of leaves that glowed faintly in the dim light, as though the tree was alive with an inner fire. Alara stepped closer, her breath catching in her throat. The air around the tree was thick with magic, and the soft hum she had been hearing now resonated louder, more distinct. The tree seemed to pulse with a life force of its own, its ancient energy calling to her. She felt an overwhelming sense of awe and reverence, as though she had stumbled upon something sacred, a place of power that existed outside of time. Without thinking, Alara reached out and touched the tree's bark. The moment her fingers made contact, a surge of warmth shot through her, filling her with a sudden clarity. Images flashed in her mind, visions of the forest, the land, and a time long past. She saw the grove in its prime, untouched by human hands, its magic thriving and spreading outward. She saw beings, creatures of light, shadow, and ancient power, who had once walked the forest, guardians of its secrets. But then, the visions shifted. Dark figures emerged, shadowy and indistinct, and they seemed to be encroaching upon the forest, tearing at its roots, threatening the balance that had existed for centuries. Alara gasped, pulling her hand away from the tree as the visions faded, leaving her breathless and shaken. The grove had a secret, a truth buried deep within its roots, and she had just begun to uncover it. But as the images disappeared, one question lingered in her mind. Why had the forest chosen her? The tree's faint glow dimmed slightly, and Alara felt a presence, strong, ancient, and wise, watching her. The forest had spoken to her, showing her a glimpse of its history and its peril. And now, it seemed, the time had come for her to play her part in its fate. She took a deep breath, her mind racing with the enormity of what she had just witnessed. The journey was only beginning, and the answers she sought were still hidden, deep within the heart of the forest grove. But she knew one thing for certain. The grove had called to her, and she could not turn back. The moments after Alara pulled her hand away from the ancient tree were filled with a heavy silence, broken only by the faint rustling of leaves in the breeze. She stood frozen in place, her mind spinning from the visions that had flashed before her eyes. The images had come and gone in an instant, but their impact had lingered like ripples on a pond, stirring something deep within her. She could feel the weight of the forest's secrets pressing against her, begging to be understood. For a moment, Alara thought the tree had no more to say, that the mysterious force she had sensed was gone. But as the golden tree pulsed faintly, she realized that it was still very much alive with energy. The hum that had been present before now seemed to vibrate through the very ground beneath her feet, and the air around her thickened. It was as though the forest had drawn her here for a reason she was not yet ready to understand. Her fingers tingled where they had touched the bark, and instinctively, she reached out once more, only this time, her hand hovered just above the surface. Without warning, a soft voice, ancient and deep, filled her mind, a voice that did not speak with words but resonated in the core of her being. "You are the one who has been chosen to restore what was broken," the voice whispered. and the air around her seemed to hold its breath. Alara's heart pounded as the realization began to dawn on her. She had not stumbled into this grove by chance. The forest had been waiting for her, calling her, drawing her to this very spot. She had been chosen, but for what purpose? The balance is shifting, the voice continued, its tone filled with a deep sorrow. The magic that once protected the grove, that kept the world in harmony, is fading. Dark forces, long thought vanquished, now rise once more, seeking to claim the heart of the forest and unravel the bond between nature and humanity. Alara's breath caught in her throat. The visions she had witnessed of the grove in its prime, of the dark figures, were more than just memories. They were a warning, a sign that the forest's ancient power was in danger of being lost forever. "The forest is dying," the voice said, a trace of anguish in its words. "And so too will the land, the village, and all that you hold dear. The root of this darkness lies within the heart of the grove. You must find it, Alara. You must restore the balance before it is too late." A chill ran down her spine. The weight of her task settled upon her, and the enormity of the revelation left her breathless. This was no simple adventure, no harmless curiosity to be satisfied. The fate of the entire village, the forest, and the world itself rested in her hands. Alara's mind raced with questions. How was she supposed to stop this darkness? What was she meant to do? But before she could voice them, the voice spoke once more. "The key lies within you," it said, its tone both comforting and unsettling. "You have the strength, the will to save the grove, but you must first awaken the power that sleeps within you. Only then will you be able to face the shadows that threaten to consume all." The world around her seemed to shift, and the clearing grew quieter. The hum of the tree's energy faded slightly, leaving behind a profound sense of stillness. Alara felt a surge of warmth within her chest, as though something deep inside her was stirring. She closed her eyes, focusing on the feeling, the pulse of power that seemed to echo through her body, like a heartbeat resonating with the earth itself. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet trembled slightly, as though acknowledging her presence. When she opened her eyes, the clearing seemed different. The golden tree before her had transformed. Its bark was now radiating a soft, ethereal light, and its branches swayed, not in the wind, but in response to some unseen force. The tree's roots shifted, parting slightly to reveal something hidden beneath the earth, a small, glowing stone, much like the one the traveler had given her earlier. Without thinking, Alara knelt down and reached for the stone, her hand guided by some instinct she could not explain. As soon as her fingers touched the stone, a rush of energy flooded her, filling every fiber of her being. Visions flashed before her eyes once more, but this time they were different. She saw herself, standing tall, her hands glowing with power, her heart open to the forest's magic. She saw the darkness, shadows rising from the depths of the earth, threatening to engulf everything in their path. And she saw the tree, its golden light fading, its roots weakening. But amid the chaos, Alara saw the way forward. She saw herself confronting the darkness, standing before it with the strength of the forest behind her. She saw herself wielding the power that had always been there, waiting for the moment when she was ready to embrace it. The visions faded as quickly as they had appeared, leaving Alara with a newfound sense of clarity. The forest had revealed its truth. The magic, the power, the balance, it was all intertwined, and Alara was the key to restoring it. The path ahead would be fraught with danger, but now she knew what she had to do. With the glowing stone in her hand, Alara stood, her resolve solidifying. The forest had chosen her, and she was ready to answer its call. The darkness would not consume the grove. She would not let it. Alara's newfound purpose burned like a fire in her chest. Yet, as the weight of the task ahead settled upon her, the challenges that lay in her path became clearer. The vision had given her a glimpse of the power she would wield and the victory that awaited. But it had also shown her the danger, the darkness, and the cost of failure. The forces that threatened the forest grove were far more ancient and powerful than she had ever imagined. They were not of flesh and blood, but of shadow and malice, beings that existed in the spaces between light, their only desire to consume all that was pure. As she made her way deeper into the heart of the forest, a tension hung thick in the air. The grove, once filled with an ethereal calm, now seemed to pulse with an undercurrent of fear. The wind had shifted, and the branches creaked as though the trees themselves were warning her. The path before her had become narrower, the shadows darker, and the once soothing whispers of the forest had turned to anxious murmurs. It was as if the very life force of the grove was being suffocated by an unseen presence. Alara's hand tightened around the glowing stone in her pocket. She could feel its warmth, its power, but she knew that power alone would not be enough to defeat the darkness that lurked at the forest's core. It would take more than magic. It would take courage, wisdom, and strength. The balance of the forest was in jeopardy, and she was the only one who could restore it. As she walked, the air around her grew heavy, charged with an energy she could not comprehend. The trees seemed to close in on her, their bark twisting and groaning as if in pain. And then, from the depths of the grove, she heard it, a low, guttural growl, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps. Something was coming. Something ancient and hungry. Her pulse quickened, and she turned to look behind her, but saw nothing. Still, the feeling of being watched was undeniable. The shadows moved, twisting unnaturally, as though they were alive, shifting around her with purpose. Alara took a cautious step forward, then another, her eyes scanning the darkened forest, waiting for the threat to reveal itself. The conflict had begun, but the true enemy had yet to show itself. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet cracked with a deafening roar, and the earth trembled. From the darkness ahead, two glowing eyes appeared, their yellow light piercing through the fog that had begun to swirl around the trees. The creature that emerged from the shadows was like nothing Alara had ever seen, its form shifting between smoke and solid matter, its body writhing as if it were made of the very darkness itself. It was massive, towering over her, its face a twisted, snarling visage of ancient rage. "You are the one chosen to save this place." The voice was a raspy whisper, filled with malice and amusement. You, a mere mortal, think you can challenge the darkness that has claimed this forest. Alara stood her ground, her heart hammering in her chest. She could feel the force of the creature's presence, its power radiating outward like a storm. The darkness itself seemed to crawl and slither around her, seeking to invade her mind, to twist her thoughts. But she refused to give in. She had seen the truth of the forest's power, and she knew that she could not fail. "I won't let you destroy this grove," she said, her voice steady despite the fear that clawed at her insides. "The forest is alive, and its magic is stronger than you can understand." The creature let out a low, menacing laugh. "The forest's magic? Foolish girl, the forest is weak, withering, and soon it will be mine." With a growl, the creature lunged forward, its shadowy form shifting with terrifying speed. Alara barely had time to react as it bore down on her, its claws reaching for her throat. In that instant, the stone in her pocket flared with blinding light, and instinctively, Alara held it out before her. The stone hummed, vibrating in her hand, and a wave of power surged from it, creating a barrier of light that pushed the creature back. It howled in fury, but Alara could see the fear in its glowing eyes. The light from the stone had hurt it. Its power was not as infinite as it had seemed. The realization sent a surge of hope through her, but the creature wasn't done yet. "You think you can defeat me with your puny light?" it snarled, its form rippling as it reformed into a darker, more menacing shape. "The light will fade, and the shadows will reclaim this world. You are no match for what is coming." The shadows around her thickened, swirling in a vortex of darkness. The air became suffocating, and the once gentle whispers of the forest turned into anguished cries, like the very trees were being torn apart. Alara's knees trembled, but she stood firm, knowing that the battle she was fighting was only the beginning. The true enemy was not this creature alone. It was the force that sought to undo the very magic that kept the forest and the world in balance. With a deep breath, Alara closed her eyes and called upon the strength she had felt within her, the power of the grove, the power of the earth. The stone pulsed in her hand, and she felt a connection to something greater than herself. The light from the stone intensified, pushing back against the darkness, and she knew that the true conflict had only just begun. The shadows would fight back, but so would she. The air around Alara crackled with raw energy as she faced the shadowy creature, the ground beneath her feet trembling with the force of its presence. The stone in her hand pulsed, its warm light seeping through her veins, filling her with a newfound strength. But despite the power coursing through her, the darkness was relentless, pressing in on her from all sides, threatening to swallow everything in its wake. The creature's form was a swirling mass of shadow, its glowing yellow eyes locked onto her with a malevolent gaze. It circled her like a predator, its voice low and menacing. "You cannot stop me. I am the darkness that was born before time, the void that consumes all light. Your light is a flicker in the vast expanse of my power." Alara's heart pounded in her chest, but she refused to falter. The whispers of the forest had grown louder, almost deafening, as though the very trees themselves were urging her on, calling her to embrace the magic that flowed through the land. The tree, the golden one, had shown her the way. She had seen the vision of herself standing strong, confronting the darkness. The grove had placed its faith in her, and now she had to place her faith in herself. With a deep breath, Alara stepped forward, raising the glowing stone high above her head. The light intensified, bathing the clearing in a brilliance that pushed back the shadows, forcing the creature to recoil. The dark mass hissed, its form shifting and writhing in the light's embrace. "You think you can stand against me with your light?" The creature spat, its voice like nails on stone. "You are nothing. The darkness is eternal." But Alara's resolve only strengthened. She closed her eyes, centering herself, drawing on the strength of the grove, the earth, the very life force that sustained the land. She felt the pulse of the forest in her veins, a rhythm older than time itself, and she understood. The stone was not just a weapon, it was a key. It was the conduit to the ancient power of the grove, the magic that had once kept the world in balance. And now, it was her responsibility to channel it. She raised her other hand, and the light from the stone flared brighter, converging into a blinding beam that shot out toward the creature. The shadow recoiled, howling in fury, but the light was too strong. It pierced through the darkness, unraveling the creature's form, disintegrating it piece by piece. The very essence of the void seemed to burn away under the intense light, until there was nothing left but the sound of the wind in the trees. But the battle was far from over. As the creature disintegrated, a new, even darker force began to take shape. The ground cracked open beneath Alara's feet, and from the fissures, tendrils of pure shadow reached out, wrapping around her legs, pulling her down toward the earth. The forest itself groaned in pain, as though it, too, was struggling against the encroaching darkness. Alara fought to keep her footing, but the tendrils tightened, pulling her closer to the ground. Her breath quickened, panic rising in her chest as she felt the forest's energy begin to wane. The shadows were overwhelming, and she could feel the life force of the grove slowly slipping away. But then she remembered the vision. The light had not come from the stone alone. It had come from her, from the deep well of strength that lay within her. The grove had chosen her not because of the stone, but because of the power she carried within her. It was time to awaken that power. With every ounce of will she could summon, Alara closed her eyes and reached deep within herself. She felt the stone's warmth once more, but this time, it was different. It was no longer a separate force, but a part of her. The light that had been a simple beam before now swelled within her, like the force of 1,000 suns, and she unleashed it. A blinding explosion of light erupted from Alara's chest, shooting upward and outward in every direction. The tendrils of darkness shrieked in agony as the light consumed them, erasing them from existence. The earth trembled as the forest's ancient magic surged back to life, its power flowing through Alara and into the heart of the grove. The golden tree above her pulsed with renewed energy, its branches swaying in the wind as the light enveloped it. The darkness fought back, but it was no match for the force of the forest's magic. now fully awakened within Alara. The shadows writhed and screamed, but they could not withstand the purity of the light. One by one, the tendrils of darkness dissolved, and the creature that had once been so powerful was finally erased from the grove. As the light faded, Alara collapsed to her knees, exhausted but triumphant. The forest was still, its once suffocating air now fresh and pure. The golden tree above her glowed brightly, its energy now fully restored, and the ground beneath her feet hummed with life. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, as if in response to her victory, the whispers of the forest returned, soft and soothing, a symphony of life that filled the air. The grove had been saved, the darkness defeated, and the balance had been restored. Alara stood, her body weary but her heart alight with a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey had been long and the battle hard, but she had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The forest had called her and she had answered. The grove was safe, and so was the world. The sun began to set, casting a warm, golden light over the forest grove, as though the land itself was breathing a sigh of relief. The darkness that had once threatened to consume everything had vanished, leaving in its wake a profound stillness. Alara stood at the heart of the grove, her body weary but her spirit alight, feeling the soft hum of magic in the air around her. She could hear the rustling of the leaves, the songs of birds in the distance, and the steady flow of the nearby stream, as if the forest had found its rhythm again, its balance restored. The golden tree before her pulsed softly, its branches now full and vibrant, as though thanking her for her courage and determination. The glow from the stone in her hand had faded, but its warmth remained within her, a reminder of the power she had awakened. The very ground beneath her feet seemed to hum with life, and she felt connected to every leaf, every root, every inch of the forest. She had done it. The grove was saved. The darkness had been vanquished, but Alara knew that her journey was far from over. The forest had chosen her not just to fight the shadows, but to become its protector, its voice in the world. She had glimpsed the future, seen the world's fragility, and understood her place in the delicate balance between nature and humanity. It was not just the grove that needed her. It was the world itself. The forest had shown her what was at stake, and she could not walk away now. As she stood there, taking in the beauty and peace that had returned to the grove, she heard a familiar sound, a soft rustling, followed by the faintest of footsteps. Turning, she saw the traveler, the one who had given her the stone. His figure emerged from the trees, his face shadowed, but his eyes filled with approval. "You have done well," he said, his voice calm and steady, but with a hint of pride. "The balance has been restored, but your true journey has only just begun." Alara nodded, her heart swelling with a mixture of relief and resolve. "I understand now," she replied. "This grove, this power, it is not mine to keep. I was chosen to protect it, to guide it back to its rightful place in the world. But there are many more like it. The balance is fragile, and the darkness will always seek to return." The traveler smiled softly. "Indeed, and that is why you must be ready. The world will need its protectors, its guardians. The magic you have awakened within you is not just for this grove. It is for all of nature, all of life. Ilara felt a deep sense of purpose stir within her. The path ahead was uncertain, but it was hers to walk. She had found strength she never knew she possessed, and she knew that her connection to the forest would be a guiding force in her life. The journey she had embarked on was not just to save this grove. It was to safeguard the balance of the world, to ensure that the light would always outshine the darkness. "I will protect it," Ilara vowed, her voice steady, firm. "I will protect the grove and all that it stands for." The traveler gave a single nod, his eyes glinting with approval. "You are not alone. The forest will always be with you, as will the guardians of the land. The path will be difficult, but you are ready. Remember, Ilara, the true power lies in your heart. Trust in it, and you will never falter." With those final words, the traveler turned and disappeared into the trees, leaving Ilara alone once more in the quiet of the grove. But she was no longer the same person who had first stumbled upon this place. She had been forged in the fire of conflict, shaped by the magic of the land, and made stronger by the knowledge of her true purpose. The weight of the forest's trust rested on her shoulders, but she carried it with a newfound sense of confidence. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle above, Ilara walked to the center of the grove. She knelt, placing her hands upon the earth, feeling the pulse of the land beneath her fingers. The magic was alive, as vibrant and powerful as ever, and it was hers to protect. The battle had been won. The darkness had been defeated, and with the dawn of each new day, the forest would continue to thrive, its secrets safe once more. But Ilara knew that her work was just beginning. The world was vast, and there were many more forests, many more places where the balance could be threatened. She had seen the signs, felt the stirring of something greater. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but she was ready. The forest had chosen her, and she would answer that call, for as long as the stars shone in the sky and the wind whispered through the trees, she would stand as its protector. The forest grove was safe, but the world was waiting, and Ilara was ready to face whatever came next. The village of Eldergrove lay cradled in the arms of a sprawling forest, its trees so ancient they seemed to hum with secrets. Life in the village was simple, quiet, and untouched by the chaos of the outside world. But the villagers knew better than to wander too far into the woods. Whispers of the forest's enchantments and its most mysterious resident, the sorcerer of legend, kept even the bravest at bay. Long ago, it was said, a powerful sorcerer roamed these lands, bending the elements to his will and weaving spells of wonder and awe. He could call rain to quench a parched earth, summon fire to light the darkest night, and even whisper to the winds to carry messages across the realms. But one fateful day, he vanished without a trace, leaving behind only fragments of his story. Some claimed he had perished, consumed by the very magic he sought to master. Others believed he had transcended the mortal world, his spirit entwined with the forest itself. Whatever the truth, his disappearance left behind an air of mystery, a silence broken only by the soft rustle of leaves and the occasional melody of unseen creatures. Children grew up hearing bedtime tales of the sorcerer's secrets, hidden spells, enchanted artifacts, and a sanctuary so well concealed that no mortal eyes had seen it. The stories were woven into the fabric of Eldergrove, filling its quiet nights with dreams of magic and wonder. But for most, they were just that, stories. A fleeting escape from the simplicity of their lives. Only a rare few dared to wonder if there might be truth buried within the legend, truth waiting to be uncovered by one brave enough to seek it. And so, as the moon hung low in the sky and the forest whispered its ageless tune, the stage was set for the tale of the sorcerer's secret to begin again. In the heart of Eldergrove, a quiet soul named Urindor stood apart. Unlike others in the village, who found comfort in routine, Urindor's mind often wandered beyond the forest's edge, into the realm of the unknown. A lover of old stories and forgotten things, he spent his days exploring hidden corners of the village, hoping to uncover a fragment of the past. One misty morning, while searching the abandoned attic of Eldergrove's oldest house, Urindor stumbled upon something extraordinary. Beneath layers of dust and cobwebs lay a small chest, its iron latch rusted but intact. With a soft creak, the lid opened to reveal an ancient map, its edges frayed with time. The parchment glowed faintly in the dim light, and its surface was marked with intricate symbols and cryptic runes. At its center was a drawing of the forest, unmistakably the one surrounding Eldergrove, though the paths etched on the map seemed unfamiliar. In bold strokes, a single location was marked with a symbol, a tree with roots that twisted into the shape of an eye. Beneath it, a faint inscription read, "Where the forest breathes, the secret lies." Urindor's heart quickened. The stories he had heard as a child came rushing back, the sorcerer's sanctuary, hidden deep within the forest. Could this map be real? Could it lead to the truth behind the whispers that had haunted the village for centuries? As the day turned to dusk, Urindor made his decision. Armed with little more than the map, a lantern, and his insatiable curiosity, he ventured toward the forest. Each step away from the village felt heavier, as though the trees themselves were warning him to turn back. But the pull of the unknown was stronger. The forest welcomed him with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the soft hoot of an unseen owl. The path marked on the map was unlike any he had walked before, twisting and turning in ways that defied the forest's natural layout. Shadows seemed to dance in the corners of his vision, and the air grew dense with an unspoken energy. As night fell, the map began to shimmer faintly, guiding Erendor through the darkness. Each step seemed to lead him closer to something ancient, something alive. Little did he know, his journey was not merely about uncovering the secrets of the Sorcerer. It was a path that would test his courage, unravel his understanding of the world, and forever change his destiny. The forest of Eldergrove was no ordinary woodland. As Erendor ventured deeper, it became clear that the trees themselves seemed to watch, their gnarled branches twisting into shapes that hinted at faces frozen in silent whispers. The air grew cooler, carrying a faint, otherworldly hum that sent shivers down his spine. The deeper he went, the more alive the forest became. The ground beneath his feet seemed to pulse with a faint rhythm, like the steady beat of a distant drum. Plants glowed softly in hues of blue and green, their light illuminating the faint path marked on the ancient map. Strange flowers opened as he passed, releasing fragrances that stirred memories he couldn't place. Then came the sounds, gentle at first, like a lullaby played on unseen strings. A symphony of soft chimes, rustling leaves, and melodic bird calls filled the air, wrapping Erendor in a cocoon of enchantment. It was beautiful, yet unsettling, as if the forest was testing him, urging him to proceed with both awe and caution. As he pressed on, he encountered creatures he had only heard of in whispered tales. A deer with antlers entwined with vines stood silently by a stream, its gaze meeting his for a fleeting moment before it vanished into the mist. A cluster of fireflies danced in patterns too deliberate to be random, forming shapes that resembled ancient runes. But the forest wasn't entirely welcoming. At times, the path on the map seemed to blur, and Erendor felt the weight of the trees closing in. Shadows shifted unnaturally, and the soft hum of the forest turned to murmurs, as though unseen voices debated his presence. He gripped the map tightly, trusting its faint glow to guide him forward. Eventually, he reached a clearing where the forest's magic seemed to concentrate. In the center stood an enormous tree, its roots spiraling into the ground like the coils of a serpent. The air here was thick with energy, and the tree's bark shimmered as if laced with silver veins. Erendor realized this was the tree depicted on the map, the one whose roots formed the shape of an eye. As he stepped closer, the ground beneath him shifted slightly, and the whispers of the forest grew louder, their tones almost melodic. The tree exuded a presence as though it were alive, watching, waiting. Then, from above, a soft, fluttering sound broke the stillness. A luminous owl descended from the tree, its feathers glowing faintly. It perched on a low branch, its golden eyes locking onto Erendor with an intensity that felt almost human. "Traveler," the owl said in a voice that echoed like a song, "you have ventured far, but the forest gives its secrets only to those who prove worthy. Will you proceed?" Erendor's breath caught in his chest. He had not expected to face such a moment. The enchanted forest was more than a passage, it was a trial, and the true journey had only just begun. The moment Erendor stepped past the great tree with the spiraling roots, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The air grew still, heavy with an unseen force, as though the world around him was waiting. With the owl now perched silently on his shoulder, its luminous feathers casting a soft glow, Erendor followed the faint path that seemed to appear beneath his feet. The path led him to the base of a towering cliff, where the roots of the enchanted tree cascaded like a natural curtain. As he approached, the runes on the map began to shimmer and shift, and the owl whispered, "The sanctuary lies within." With trembling hands, Erendor touched the roots. A low, resonant hum echoed through the cliffside as the roots slowly parted, revealing a hidden entrance bathed in a golden glow. Steeling himself, he stepped inside. The sanctuary was unlike anything he had imagined. The air inside was cool and fragrant, tinged with the scent of ancient wood and blooming flowers. The walls of the cavern were lined with shelves carved from the stone itself, holding rows of worn tomes, glowing crystals, and vials filled with liquids that swirled with colors that seemed alive. In the center of the room stood a grand pedestal, atop which rested a staff of twisted silverwood. The staff's head was encased in a crystalline orb, glowing faintly with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Surrounding it, intricate symbols and runes glowed softly, radiating an aura of power and wisdom. Erendor's gaze was drawn to a massive mirror set into the far wall, its surface rippling like water. As he approached, images began to take shape within it. He saw the forest as it had been centuries ago, vibrant and teeming with magic. He saw the Sorcerer, an imposing figure clad in robes of deep emerald, walking among the trees, his staff in hand, channeling the forest's energy to heal, protect, and create. Then, the vision darkened. The Sorcerer's expression turned weary, his hands trembling as he wielded his power. The mirror showed how the Sorcerer, in his quest to safeguard the balance of magic, had drawn too deeply from its source. To prevent the magic from consuming him and corrupting the world, he had sealed himself and his power within the sanctuary, leaving the forest as its guardian. A voice filled the chamber, deep and resonant, yet kind. "You have found my sanctuary, seeker of truth. Few possess the courage to walk this path. Tell me, why have you come?" Erendor hesitated, his voice barely a whisper. "I seek understanding, to know the secrets of the forest and the wisdom you left behind." The voice softened. "Wisdom is not given, it is earned. The sanctuary holds the knowledge of ages, but it also holds the burden of its use. Will you take this upon yourself, knowing the weight it carries?" Erendor nodded, his resolve firm. The sanctuary pulsed with light, and the staff lifted from its pedestal, floating toward him. As his hand closed around it, a surge of energy coursed through him, filling his mind with the Sorcerer's teachings, his triumphs, and his regrets. The voice spoke once more. "Use this power with humility and purpose, for the world needs protectors, not conquerors. You are now the keeper of this sanctuary and the bridge between its magic and the mortal realm." As the light dimmed, the sanctuary seemed to settle, its secrets entrusted to Erendor. The owl, now perched nearby, gave a soft hoot of approval. Erendor turned back toward the forest, his heart brimming with both wonder and responsibility. The sorcerer's sanctuary had revealed its truths, but his journey was far from over. The magic of the forest now lived within him, and his story was just beginning. As Erendor stood in the sanctuary, the air grew thick with a golden haze. From within the shimmering mist, a figure began to materialize, a tall, imposing presence cloaked in flowing emerald robes. The sorcerer's face was kind but weathered, marked by years of wisdom and sacrifice. His eyes glimmered with a light that seemed to hold the entire forest within them. "You have come far," the sorcerer said, his voice echoing softly like a distant melody. "Few dare to walk the paths you have tread. Even fewer reach this place." Erendor's throat tightened. "Are you the sorcerer of Eldergrove?" The figure nodded, a faint smile touching his lips. "I am what remains of him, a fragment of my soul bound to this sanctuary, so that the wisdom of ages might not be lost. Tell me, traveler, what do you seek here?" Erendor hesitated, then spoke with honesty. "I seek to understand the legends of your power, your disappearance, what happened to you. Why did you leave the forest guarded by secrets?" The sorcerer's expression grew solemn. He gestured toward the rippling mirror, and its surface began to shimmer. Within its depths, visions unfolded, telling a tale of great triumph and quiet tragedy. "I was once the guardian of this land," the sorcerer began. "The magic of the forest flowed through me, a gift and a responsibility. With it, I healed the sick, nurtured the earth, and protected the balance between the mortal world and the unseen realms. But such power comes with a price." The mirror showed the sorcerer standing in the forest, his hands outstretched as he summoned torrents of energy to shield the land from a great calamity, storms that threatened to destroy all in their path. Each spell drained him, the light in his eyes dimming with every act of protection. "I became reckless," the sorcerer admitted, his voice tinged with regret. "In my desire to preserve harmony, I pushed beyond the limits of what even I could wield. The magic began to consume me, eroding my spirit. To save the forest and myself, I had to act." The vision shifted to the sorcerer standing before the great tree with the spiraling roots. Chanting softly, he poured his remaining strength into the sanctuary, sealing his knowledge and power within its depths. His body faded, but his essence remained, bound to the magic he had sworn to protect. "I chose to disappear," he said, turning back to Erendor. "Not out of fear, but to ensure that the power I once wielded would not fall into the wrong hands. The forest became my guardian, and the sanctuary my legacy." Erendor's heart ached at the weight of the sorcerer's sacrifice. "Why reveal this to me? Why now?" The sorcerer stepped closer, his form shimmering faintly. "Because the world is changing. The balance I fought to preserve grows fragile once more. Magic is stirring, and its return cannot be ignored. You have been chosen, not by me, but by the forest itself. It sees in you the qualities of a guardian: courage, humility, and the desire to understand." The sanctuary pulsed with light, and the sorcerer extended his hand. "Will you take up the mantle, Erendor? Will you learn from my triumphs and my mistakes, and protect the balance as I once did?" Erendor swallowed hard, the enormity of the moment pressing down on him. But as he looked into the sorcerer's eyes, he felt a strange calm, as though the forest itself was whispering its trust in him. "I will," Urindor said firmly. "I will honor your legacy and protect this magic." The sorcerer smiled, his form beginning to dissolve into light. "Then my purpose is fulfilled. Remember, Urindor, power is not what defines a guardian. It is how that power is used that shapes your destiny. May the forest guide you always." With those final words, the sorcerer's figure faded, and the sanctuary returned to its stillness. Yet the air felt different, charged with new energy. Urindor stood alone, the weight of the sorcerer's knowledge resting within him. As he turned to leave the sanctuary, the staff in his hand pulsing with a soft glow, Urindor knew his life would never be the same. The sorcerer's revelation had given him a purpose, but it had also left him with a question. What kind of guardian would he choose to become? Urindor emerged from the sanctuary, his steps lighter yet burdened with newfound responsibility. The forest, once an enigma shrouded in whispers, now pulsed with familiarity. Every tree, every shadow, and every ripple of wind seemed to acknowledge him, as if the very essence of the forest had embraced him as its own. Yet, within Urindor, a storm of emotions brewed. The sorcerer's revelation had given him power, but it also brought doubt. Could he truly bear the mantle of a guardian? The staff in his hand hummed softly, a gentle reminder of the promise he had made. The transformation began subtly, as the magic within him started to stir. At first, it was overwhelming, his senses sharpened to a degree that bordered on painful. He could hear the whispers of leaves, feel the heartbeat of the earth beneath his feet, and sense the delicate balance of life within the forest. Nights brought vivid dreams of the sorcerer's teachings, fragments of ancient knowledge threading themselves into his consciousness. But transformation is never without struggle. As Urindor sought to harness his power, he faced failures that tested his resolve. Attempts to channel the magic led to sparks of chaos, a gust of wind that nearly toppled a tree, a surge of energy that wilted a patch of flowers. Each mistake left him humbled, reminding him of the lessons the sorcerer had imparted through perseverance. He began to understand. The forest did not demand control, it required harmony. The magic was not a tool to be wielded, but a bond to be nurtured. Urindor spent days walking the forest, attuning himself to its rhythms. He listened to the rustle of the trees, felt the ebb and flow of the streams, and observed the creatures that lived in delicate balance. In time, the magic responded to his humility. The once clumsy sparks of power became precise and intentional. He called forth rain to nourish a dying glade, healed an injured stag with a touch, and wove light into the night to guide lost travelers back to safety. The forest no longer felt like a labyrinth of mystery. It was a living, breathing entity, and Urindor had become its voice. His transformation extended beyond the forest. Word of his deeds began to spread among the villagers of Eldergrove. At first, they were hesitant, wary of the magic they had long feared. But as they witnessed Urindor's acts of kindness, restoring crops, mending broken homes, and protecting them from unseen dangers, they began to see him not as a sorcerer of legend, but as one of their own. Urindor, too, changed in ways he hadn't expected. The curiosity that had once driven him to seek the sorcerer's secrets evolved into a quiet confidence. The boy who had longed for answers became a man who understood the value of balance. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the forest was bathed in hues of gold and crimson, Erendor stood before the great tree with the spiraling roots. The owl, ever his silent companion, perched nearby, watching with approving eyes. Erendor planted the staff into the earth, feeling its connection with the forest grow even deeper. Closing his eyes, he whispered a vow not of dominance but of unity. "I am no master of this magic," he said softly. "I am its keeper, its servant, and its steward. Let this bond remain unbroken for as long as I draw breath." As the words left his lips, the forest seemed to exhale. A gentle breeze swept through the trees, carrying the scent of blossoms and earth, as if the land itself had accepted his promise. Erendor was no longer the curious villager who had stumbled upon an ancient map. He was the guardian of the forest, a bridge between the magic of old and the world of today. His transformation was complete, though his journey was far from over. For now, he was ready to walk forward, carrying the legacy of the sorcerer and the whispers of the forest into a future yet unwritten. Years passed, and the forest of Eldergrove thrived under Erendor's care. What was once a place of fear and mystery became a sanctuary for all who sought peace, wisdom, or solace. Villagers spoke of the young guardian who had bridged the mortal world with the realm of magic, ensuring harmony between the two. Erendor's presence was a reminder that the sorcerer's sacrifice had not been in vain. The teachings passed down through the sanctuary became living truths, embodied in the balance that Erendor nurtured. Yet, the sorcerer's legacy extended far beyond the forest's borders. Erendor carefully transcribed the sorcerer's teachings into tomes, ensuring that the wisdom of Eldergrove would not fade into legend. These writings were not hidden, but shared with those who sought them with pure intent. He believed that magic was not meant to be feared, but understood and respected. The tomes included lessons on the delicate interplay between power and restraint, compassion and responsibility. They carried warnings of the consequences of greed and arrogance, tales of triumphs rooted in humility, and guidance on how to live in harmony with the natural world. Travelers, scholars, and even rulers came to the forest seeking Erendor's counsel. Each left with a greater understanding of the sorcerer's legacy, and the realization that true strength lay not in domination, but in stewardship. Under Erendor's guardianship, Eldergrove became a place of wonder and inspiration. The enchanted forest grew more vibrant, its magic thriving in response to Erendor's care. Trees that glowed softly at night became symbols of hope, while flowers that bloomed in impossible colors drew visitors from distant lands. The forest became a refuge for the weary and lost. Those who entered its borders with kindness found themselves healed, both in body and spirit. Animals, once elusive, walked alongside humans without fear, as though understanding that they were part of a shared world. Erendor often guided visitors himself, sharing the lessons of the forest and reminding them of their connection to something greater. His humility, even as a wielder of immense power, inspired those who met him to embrace the values of balance and respect. As the years turned to decades, Urindor grew older, though the magic within him slowed the passage of time. He knew, however, that his guardianship was not eternal. The forest, like the magic it protected, required continuity. Urindor began to seek those who shared his connection to the land. He trained young seekers in the ways of the forest, teaching them not just spells or rituals, but the principles of harmony and restraint. Among them, one stood out, a young woman named Liara, whose bond with the magic mirrored his own. When the time came, Urindor passed the staff to Liara in a quiet ceremony beneath the great tree with the spiraling roots. The forest seemed to celebrate the transition, its leaves shimmering with light as the staff's glow transferred to her hands. "You are now the guardian," Urindor told her, his voice steady. "Remember, this power is not yours to own. It is a gift, and its purpose is to serve." Liara nodded, her eyes shining with determination. The forest had chosen her, just as it had chosen Urindor, and she vowed to honor the legacy she had inherited. Though Urindor eventually left the physical world, his essence remained within the forest, much like the sorcerer before him. Whispers of his guidance could be heard in the rustle of leaves and the song of the streams. The sanctuary, now tended by Liara, stood as a testament to the enduring legacy of the sorcerer and the guardians who followed. The villagers continued to tell the tale of Urindor, the young seeker who had ventured into the forest and emerged as a guardian. They spoke of the sorcerer's revelation and the timeless wisdom he had entrusted to the sanctuary. Elder Grove, once a mysterious and feared place, became a symbol of hope, wonder, and unity. The sorcerer's legacy lived on, not as a relic of the past, but as a living, breathing force, guiding generations toward a future where magic and humanity walked hand in hand. And so, the story of the sorcerer, the forest, and the guardians endured. A timeless reminder that true power lies not in conquest, but in connection, care, and the courage to protect what truly matters. Imagine a world long ago, a world untouched by the rush of time, where the air is gentle and the stars twinkle like whispers of forgotten tales. It is a world of peaceful civilizations, where each stone, each river, and each ancient building holds the story of the past, waiting to be discovered. Tonight, we embark on a journey not bound by time, but guided by the soft, rhythmic pulse of the earth itself. As you settle into the comfort of your bed, allow the world around you to fade away. Take a deep, slow breath, and with each exhale, feel yourself becoming lighter, as if the weight of the day is drifting away. In this moment, nothing exists but the quiet serenity of now. Tonight, you are about to step into the past. You will travel back through time, visiting lands of golden sands, ancient temples, and towering mountains. With each turn, the pages of history will unfold before your eyes, and you'll find yourself surrounded by the gentle whispers of ancient voices, guiding you toward a place of peace. So close your eyes, let your mind wander, and allow yourself to drift on the gentle winds of time. Our journey is about to begin. As the clock strikes midnight, the world around you begins to soften, and the air grows still. A quiet glow envelops the room, casting a gentle light that seems to shimmer like moonbeams. The moment is calm, as if the very fabric of time is holding its breath, waiting for you to take the first step into the past. With each heartbeat, you feel yourself sinking deeper into a serene peace. The ticking of the clock fades, replaced by a soothing, rhythmic pulse, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. The glow around you intensifies, and before you know it, you're gently lifting off the ground, weightless and calm. The journey has begun. You look down, and the world below begins to shift, like a picture slowly transforming. The walls of your room vanish, replaced by wide open skies and distant horizons. You're no longer in the present, but rather surrounded by the soft whispers of time, guiding you forward. As you float gently through the air, you begin to feel the air of ancient lands on your skin. The warmth of the sun from centuries past, the rustling of leaves in forgotten forests, the distant sound of water flowing from rivers long ago. Everything is quiet, and every detail is perfect, as though the past itself is reaching out to embrace you in its timeless embrace. With a final, peaceful breath, you glide through time, knowing that the past awaits you, ready to share its stories. You are no longer just a traveler of the present. You are a time traveler, exploring lands that existed long before today. And the adventure of a lifetime is just beginning. The journey is soft and slow, like a boat drifting down a calm river. The world around you shifts once more, and you find yourself gently landing in a land bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. Welcome to ancient Egypt, where the past stretches out in all its timeless beauty. As you step forward, the soft, warm breeze carries with it the scent of fresh papyrus and the distant sound of water flowing along the Nile. You can hear the gentle rustling of the tall reeds as they sway in the evening air. Before you, the mighty pyramids rise majestically, their stone faces catching the last rays of the sun, glowing like the stars waiting to appear in the sky. The landscape is peaceful, as if time itself has chosen to rest here. You look around and see the sprawling village along the river's edge, its streets lined with simple yet sturdy homes made of sun-baked clay. People move gracefully, their linen garments flowing with the breeze, their faces serene as they go about their evening rituals. The air is warm, but not overwhelming, and there's a deep sense of harmony here, as though everything exists in perfect balance. On the horizon, the great Sphinx watches over the land, its stone face etched with the wisdom of centuries. The silence is broken only by the soft hum of life, the sound of soft footsteps on the earth, the call of distant birds, and the whisper of ancient prayers carried on the winds. You feel the peaceful energy of this place wrapping around you, as if the earth itself is offering you its calm embrace. Near the riverbank, you see a group of children playing quietly by the water's edge, their laughter soft and content. The world around you is simple yet grand, filled with a quiet majesty that speaks of centuries of wisdom and tranquility. As you pause to take in the beauty of this land, the sun begins to dip lower, casting long shadows that stretch across the desert sands. The last golden light fades, and the evening stars begin to twinkle softly above you. You can feel the stillness of the night descending, as if the very air is preparing to rest. Take a deep breath. Let the calmness of ancient Egypt fill you with peace, allowing the gentle whispers of the past to guide you further into your journey. The world here moves at its own pace, slow, steady, and sure. And as you rest in this moment, you can almost hear the timeless lullaby of the Nile, inviting you to drift deeper into tranquility. As the breeze shifts, you feel a gentle pull, and the world around you begins to change once more. The golden sands of Egypt soften and dissolve, replaced by the cool, crisp air of the Mediterranean. You find yourself standing on the edge of a tranquil sea, where the waves gently kiss the rocky shores of ancient Greece. The sun is now setting over the distant hills, casting a warm, amber glow over everything. You gaze upon the Parthenon, its white marble columns standing tall against the darkening sky. The delicate scent of blooming olive trees fills the air, mingling with the faint sound of a lyre being played in the distance, its notes floating across the evening breeze. The city around you is peaceful, bathed in the soft, golden hues of twilight. Ancient Greek philosophers sit beneath the shade of olive trees, their voices low and thoughtful, discussing the mysteries of the universe. You can hear snippets of their conversations about wisdom, love, and the nature of the soul. Their words like soft echoes that blend into the quiet hum of the world. The sea stretches out before you, its surface glistening under the last rays of the sun, while the distant hills rise like ancient guardians watching over the land. The sound of the water is soothing, rhythmic, a soft lullaby that calls to you, inviting you to relax and unwind. The breeze picks up slightly, brushing your skin with a coolness that feels both refreshing and comforting. Around you, people go about their evening rituals with a quiet grace. Some gather in small groups, sharing stories and laughter, while others walk slowly along the stone paths, their steps echoing softly in the calm night. The air is filled with a deep sense of peace, a reminder of a time when the world moved more slowly, when thoughts and conversations were savored like fine wine. The stars begin to appear above you, twinkling softly in the vast expanse of the night sky. You feel the presence of the gods in the heavens, watching over the land with their quiet, eternal gaze. Everything here feels timeless, as though you are walking in the footsteps of ancient wisdom. Take a deep breath and let the serenity of ancient Greece wrap around you. The wisdom of the philosophers, the calm of the sea, and the quiet beauty of this land all combine to create a sense of perfect tranquility. Allow your mind to drift with the soft waves of the Aegean Sea, letting the peacefulness of this place guide you deeper into relaxation. As the night sky continues to unfold above you, with a soft shift in the air, the warmth of the Mediterranean fades away, replaced by a fresh, cool breeze. The world around you transforms once again, and you find yourself standing beside a calm river in the heart of ancient China. The landscape is lush and peaceful, with rolling hills draped in mist and towering bamboo groves that sway gently in the breeze. The air smells of earth and greenery, fresh and clean, as the river glides silently past, its waters reflecting the pale light of the moon. The sound of distant bells echoes faintly through the valley, mingling with the soft rustling of the leaves. Far away, you can hear the faint whisper of a gong, its deep, resonant tone reminding you of the wisdom that has flowed through this land for centuries. The land is peaceful, and everything here seems to breathe in unison with the earth itself. Small, graceful bridges cross over the river, their wooden beams glistening softly in the moonlight. The path beside the water is lined with delicate lotus flowers, their petals glowing under the night sky. The landscape is serene and still, as if time itself has paused, allowing you to fully appreciate the beauty of this moment. As you walk along the river, you catch sight of a small temple nestled against the side of a mountain, its golden roof shimmering gently in the moonlight. The sound of a quiet prayer fills the air as monks walk softly around the temple grounds, their movements slow and deliberate, each step taken with reverence and peace. Their faces are calm, filled with a quiet wisdom that echoes through the stillness of the night. The cool air feels refreshing, like a soft balm for your mind, and the peace of this land settles into your heart. The distant mountains rise majestically, their peaks lost in the mist, as though they have watched over this land for millennia. Every detail of this ancient place speaks of harmony, balance, and a deep connection to the natural world. You pause for a moment, closing your eyes and listening to the quiet hum of life around you. The rustling of bamboo leaves, the sound of the river flowing gently past, and the soft calls of birds nesting in the trees. Everything is at peace, and you can feel the gentle presence of this ancient land wrapping around you, offering you its tranquility and wisdom. Take a deep breath, letting the serenity of ancient China fill your senses. The coolness of the air, the beauty of the landscape, and the stillness of the night all combine to create a perfect sense of calm. Allow yourself to rest here for a moment, letting the peace of this place wash over you as the river continues to flow quietly beside you, guiding you deeper into relaxation and tranquility. As the soft whispers of the river fade, you feel a new shift in the air, a gentle pull drawing you further back in time. The world around you slowly transforms once more, and you find yourself in a vast, ancient land, Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. The evening sky is painted in soft shades of purple and gold, stretching wide above you like a great canvas. You stand beside the mighty Tigris River, its waters flowing slowly and steadily, like a timeless heartbeat. The land around you is vast, the earth rich and fertile from the rivers that have nourished it for millennia. The scent of fresh earth and grain fills the air, mingling with the warm, gentle breeze that carries the soft sounds of life from the nearby city. In the distance, the towering ziggurats rise, their stepped stone structures reaching toward the heavens, a testament to the ancient builders' devotion and craftsmanship. The sky above is beginning to darken, the first stars beginning to twinkle softly in the vast expanse, and the evening rituals of the people are just beginning. You walk along the riverbank, where lanterns light the paths, casting a soft, golden glow. The people here move with quiet purpose, their steps slow and measured. The air is filled with the sound of distant voices, soft laughter, and the peaceful hum of daily life. The night has fallen, but the city is alive, its heart beating gently as the day fades into the embrace of the evening. A small group of storytellers has gathered by a fire, their voices low but filled with warmth as they share tales of gods and kings, of battles won and lost, of dreams and destinies. The fire crackles softly, its light dancing across the faces of the listeners, who are wrapped in the comfort of these ancient stories. You can almost hear the words of their tales drifting to you on the breeze, carrying with them the wisdom of generations. As you stand there, taking in the serene beauty of this ancient land, you feel a deep connection to the earth beneath your feet. The ziggurats, the river, the people, they are all part of something greater, something timeless, something that has endured through the ages. The stillness of the night, the soft sounds of the city, and the glowing stars above fill you with a profound sense of peace. Take a deep breath, feeling the gentle presence of Mesopotamia wrap around you. The ancient wisdom of this land, its stories, and its quiet beauty all fill you with calm, guiding you toward a place of deep relaxation. The evening here is slow and gentle, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. Allow this peace to settle into your heart, knowing that the whispers of the past will remain with you as you continue your journey into rest. The world of Mesopotamia, with its quiet majesty and timeless stories, fades softly into the background as the night continues to unfold around you, guiding you gently into the peaceful embrace of sleep. As the peaceful echoes of Mesopotamia begin to soften, you feel a gentle pull, like the tide slowly drawing back into the sea. The journey through time has come to an end, and the quiet whispers of the past slowly begin to fade. The stars above you twinkle softly, their light now a distant memory, as the sounds of the ancient world settle into the stillness of the night. The warmth of the Tigris River, the sound of storytellers' voices, and the cool breeze of ancient China all slip away, like sand sifting through your fingers. One by one, the images of the past blur gently, fading into the quiet darkness. You begin to feel the familiar comfort of your present surroundings, the soft pillow beneath your head, and the warmth of your blanket wrapping around you once more. As you float through time, returning to the present, the land around you becomes more familiar, the distant echoes of ancient civilizations giving way to the peaceful hum of your own world. The gentle glow of the time traveler's light flickers softly, like a candle slowly dimming. The air, once filled with the sounds of rivers and voices, now returns to its gentle quiet. You feel your body sinking deeper into the comfort of your bed, your muscles softening with each breath. The wisdom of the past lingers, like a quiet presence, whispering in your mind, reminding you of the peace and harmony that exists in the world. The soft hum of the present surrounds you, and you are once again in the warmth and safety of now. Take a moment to appreciate the stillness, knowing that the stories of the ancient lands will remain with you, like a gentle dream that you can carry into the night. As your journey comes to a close, let go of the day's worries and drift deeper into the quiet embrace of sleep. The ancient worlds are now distant, resting in the folds of time, but their calm and wisdom remain within you. Let your breath slow, and your mind become as still as the night around you, as you peacefully slip into a restful, serene sleep, carrying the tranquility of the past into the quiet dreams of tomorrow. quiet embrace of night, the world transformed beneath the gentle glow of the moon. Its silvery light cascaded through the canopy of ancient trees, painting the forest floor with dappled patterns of luminescent wonder. Each leaf shimmered as if dusted with stardust, while fireflies wove glowing trails through the air, their tiny lights flickering like secrets shared between friends. The wind, soft and cool, carried the scent of jasmine and pine, whispering lullabies to the sleeping creatures nestled in their burrows. A crystal-clear stream meandered lazily through the heart of the forest, its surface reflecting the moon like a broken mirror, as if the sky itself had come down to rest upon the earth. In this magical stillness, the moon reigned as a watchful guardian, its face serene yet knowing. To those who paused to listen, it offered whispers, gentle murmurs that carried dreams and promises to the hearts of the curious and the kind. The moon's voice was a melody without words, a guide for those daring enough to follow its soft, mysterious call. This was the world beneath the moon, a sanctuary of wonder where the veil between dreams and reality grew thin, and where those who listened could find the path to their deepest desires. Tonight, the moon whispered once more, its voice dancing through the night like a secret invitation. The forest held its breath, waiting for the one who would hear and answer the call. At the edge of the enchanted forest, in a quaint stone cottage with ivy creeping up its walls, lived a young girl named Leela. Her heart was as bright as the stars she loved to watch each night, and her eyes sparkled with the curiosity of someone destined to uncover life's hidden wonders. Leela had always felt a special connection to the night sky. While others sought dreams in their slumber, she found hers in the moon's soft glow and the songs of the crickets that filled the air. Leela wasn't like the other children in her village. While they played by the river or gathered berries in the sun, she spent her days sketching strange constellations on scraps of paper and her nights gazing at the heavens, waiting for the moon to speak. And speak it did, or so she believed. On quiet nights when the world was still and the forest held its breath, Leela would hear faint whispers drifting on the breeze. The whispers felt familiar, like the voice of an old friend calling her name. She could never make out the words, but she knew deep in her heart they were meant for her. Despite her boundless curiosity, Leela often felt a restlessness she couldn't explain. It was as if her small cottage and the forest's edge were too small for the dreams that danced in her mind. She longed to step beyond the boundaries of what she knew, to discover the source of the whispers that seemed to hold the answers to questions she hadn't yet dared to ask. Leela's only companion in her nightly musings was her black cat, Onyx, who often perched on the windowsill, his green eyes gleaming in the moonlight. Together, they would sit in silence, listening to the wind and waiting for something, anything, that might change their world one fateful evening. As the moon rose full and luminous, its light spilled across her room like a silver river. That night, the whispers grew louder, weaving themselves into a melody that tugged at her soul. Leela knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that the moon was calling her. She didn't know what awaited her, but her heart swelled with the kind of certainty only dreamers understand. It was time to follow the call. And so, with a heart full of wonder and a courage she didn't yet know she possessed, Leela prepared to step into the unknown, ready to answer the whispers of the moon. That evening, the moon hung low in the sky, its luminous face fuller and brighter than Leela had ever seen. Its silvery glow spilled through her window, wrapping her room in a light so soft it felt like an embrace. As she sat by the windowsill, her cat Onyx curled in her lap, the whispers came again. This time, they were not the faint, fleeting murmurs she had always heard. They were clear, almost musical, weaving words into her thoughts. "Leela," the voice called, soft as the rustling leaves, yet carrying the weight of 1,000 promises. "The forest awaits. Follow the path of light, and you shall find the truth you seek." Leela's heart raced. For years, she had dreamed of hearing the moon's whispers more clearly, and now it felt as though the moon itself was speaking directly to her. The words were both comforting and exhilarating, as though they had always been a part of her, waiting for this very moment. She glanced at Onyx, whose emerald eyes glimmered knowingly in the moonlight, as if he too had been waiting for this night. The moon's call was irresistible, tugging at her heart like a melody she couldn't ignore. Stepping out of her cottage, Leela found the forest transformed. Moonlight poured through the trees in shimmering ribbons, illuminating a path that seemed to appear just for her. The usual shadows that danced in the underbrush were gone, replaced by a soft glow that made the forest feel alive with magic. As she took her first steps onto the glowing trail, the wind shifted, carrying a gentle voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "Do not fear, little dreamer," it whispered. "Your heart is your compass, and the moon will be your guide." Moments later, a soft flutter of wings broke the stillness. From the shadows emerged a magnificent owl, its feathers shimmering like silver threads spun by moonlight. Its wide, golden eyes met Leela's, and it spoke, its voice deep and steady. "I am Orion, the moon's messenger. The journey ahead is not for the faint-hearted, but the moon has chosen you, Leela. Will you trust its call?" Though her hands trembled slightly, Leela nodded. She didn't know what lay ahead, but the moon's whispers had ignited something within her, a courage she didn't know she possessed, and a yearning she could no longer ignore. With Orion perched on a low branch nearby, she stepped deeper into the forest. The trail glowed brighter with each step, as if reassuring her she was on the right path. The trees seemed to part for her, their leaves whispering encouragement in languages she couldn't understand, but somehow felt in her heart. As the whispers of the moon grew softer but more persistent, Leela knew there was no turning back. This was the adventure she had been waiting for, the one her dreams had always promised. As Leela followed the glowing path deeper into the forest, the air grew richer with magic. Every step seemed to draw her into a world untouched by time, where the ordinary laws of nature gave way to wonder. Orion, the silvery owl, glided ahead, his wings cutting through the cool night air like whispers of the moon itself. The path twisted and turned, leading Leela to her first challenge, a glimmering stream that sparkled as if filled with liquid starlight. Its waters danced and hummed with a soothing melody, but as Leela stepped closer, she realized the current carried faint voices, each one echoing secrets and truths. Orion perched on a nearby branch, his golden eyes gleaming. "This is the stream of reflection," he explained. To cross, you must answer the question it whispers to you. Be honest, for the stream sees into the depths of your heart. Leela knelt by the stream, her reflection rippling like a silver thread in the water. A voice, soft and curious, rose from the current. "What do you fear most, little dreamer?" She hesitated, the answer swelling in her chest. "Being forgotten," she whispered. The stream shimmered brighter, and its melody shifted into a harmonious hum, inviting her to cross. With steady steps, Leela waded through the cool, glowing waters, emerging on the other side with a strange sense of lightness. The path led her next to the Forest of Echoes, a place where ancient trees loomed high, their gnarled branches intertwined like a cathedral ceiling. Here, the air was heavy with sound, faint whispers of doubt and fear that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Turn back," a voice hissed. "You're too small to face this journey," another murmured. "The moon's call is not for you," echoed a third for a moment. The weight of their words pressed against her, but Orion swooped down beside her, his presence steadying. "These echoes feed on hesitation," he said. "Silence them with belief in yourself." Closing her eyes, Leela focused on the moon's gentle whispers that had first called her. The echoes faded, replaced by the soft hum of the forest. She took a deep breath and continued, her steps more confident than before. Finally, the path opened into the starry glade, a meadow unlike anything Leela had ever seen. Flowers that glowed with their own light dotted the clearing, their petals shimmering in hues of gold, blue, and violet. Above, the sky seemed closer, the stars brighter, as if the heavens themselves were watching. In the center of the glade stood a circle of glowing creatures, ethereal deer with antlers like crystal, foxes with fur that sparkled like frost, and a shimmering hair that radiated gentle warmth. As Leela approached, they bowed their heads in unison, acknowledging her courage. One of the creatures, a luminous deer, stepped forward. Its voice was melodic, like a song carried on the wind. "Every step you've taken has shown your heart's strength. Remember this place, for it is born of your belief. When doubt clouds your path, return here in your mind, and you will find your way." As the creatures retreated into the glow of the glade, Orion motioned toward the path ahead. "The final part of your journey awaits, Leela. You've faced your fears and quieted your doubts. Now, you must hear the moon's secret." With renewed determination, Leela stepped forward, her heart steady and her spirit alight with wonder. The whispers grew louder, guiding her toward the moonlit clearing, where her greatest revelation awaited. Leela emerged from the glade into a breathtaking clearing bathed in moonlight. The light was so radiant, it seemed to turn the air itself into silver, shimmering and alive. At the heart of the clearing stood a pool as smooth as glass, reflecting the full moon above. The whispers that had guided her all along now became a harmonious song, filling the air with a melody that resonated deep within her. Orion perched on a low branch nearby, his feathers glowing faintly. "Step forward, Leela," he said, his voice reverent. "The moon has awaited you." Leela hesitated for only a moment before walking toward the pool. As she drew closer, the surface rippled, and the reflection of the moon began to shift. The luminous orb seemed to lower itself from the sky, its glow intensifying until it took on a shape, a figure made entirely of light. It was the moon itself, personified, with a face both ageless and kind, eyes that shimmered like galaxies, and a voice that was both soft and powerful. "Little dreamer," the moon said, its tone warm and welcoming, "you have journeyed far to hear my secret. Tell me, what do you seek?" Leela's voice trembled as she spoke, her heart full of wonder. "I heard your whispers, and I felt they were meant for me. I seek to understand why you called me and what I am meant to do." The moon smiled, and its light grew even softer. "I whisper to many, but few choose to listen as you have. My secret is not a mystery of the stars, but a truth already within you." The moon gestured toward the pool, and Leela saw her own reflection. Yet it was not the timid girl she knew. In the water, she appeared radiant, her eyes alight with courage, her posture strong and assured. "The whispers you heard were the echoes of your own heart," the moon explained. "I am but a mirror, reflecting the light that already shines within you. Your fears, your doubts, they clouded your vision, but they could not extinguish your light. You have shown courage in facing them, and now you see the truth. You are capable of more than you ever imagined." Tears welled in Leela's eyes as the moon's words sank in. She realized that every challenge she had faced, the stream, the echoes, the glade, had been a reflection of her own inner journey. The moon had guided her, but the strength to overcome had been hers all along. The moon continued, "Carry this truth with you, Leela. You are a dreamer, and dreamers are the ones who bring light to the world. The path ahead will not always be easy, but remember this moment. Trust in your heart, and you will always find your way." As the moon's figure began to fade, it left behind a single glowing stone on the edge of the pool. Orion nudged it toward her with his beak. "This is the moon's gift," he said. "A reminder of your journey and the light within you. Keep it close, and let it guide you when the whispers feel faint." Leela held the stone in her hands, its soft glow warming her fingertips. With a deep breath, she whispered her gratitude to the moon. The clearing began to shift, the light dimming, as the moon retreated to its place in the sky. The melody of its whispers lingered in her heart, a song she knew she would carry forever. Turning back toward the forest, Leela felt a new sense of purpose. She was no longer just a dreamer gazing at the stars. She was a girl who had followed the moon's call, discovered her own strength, and learned that the whispers of the moon were, in truth, the voice of her own courageous heart. The journey back through the forest felt different. The trees that once loomed like silent watchers now felt like companions, their branches swaying gently as if in farewell. The stream sparkled brighter, its melody no longer asking questions, but singing softly of her triumph. The echoes in the dark corners of the forest were silent, replaced by the quiet hum of peace that now filled Leela's heart. Orion flew above her, his silver feathers glinting in the moonlight. "You've done well, Leela," he said, his voice filled with pride. "The moon's wisdom is yours now. But remember, it is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of who you are meant to become." As the forest's edge came into view, Leela's small cottage stood bathed in the soft light of dawn. Onyx waited by the door, his green eyes gleaming as if he knew all that had transpired. Leela knelt and gently placed the glowing stone, the moon's gift, on the windowsill. Its light pulsed faintly, a constant reminder of her journey and the strength she had found within herself. She gazed at the horizon, where the first rays of the sun began to kiss the sky, blending with the fading glow of the moon. A sense of calm and clarity washed over her. The restlessness that had once consumed her was gone, replaced by a quiet confidence and a deep understanding. Leela spent the day tending to her garden and writing down the stories the moon had whispered to her. She found herself smiling more, noticing beauty in the smallest things. The rustle of leaves, the laughter of the nearby brook, the way onyx purred beside her as she worked. She carried the moon's secret in her heart, a light that illuminated her every thought and action. Word spread in the village of the girl who seemed to shine from within. People sought her out, drawn by her quiet strength and the kindness that radiated from her. Leela listened to their fears, their dreams, and their doubts, offering words of encouragement that seemed to come from a place far beyond her years. Though she never shared the full story of her journey, she often spoke of the whispers of the moon and how listening to them could guide anyone toward their true path. She encouraged others to dream, to face their fears, and to trust the light within themselves. And so, the restless dreamer became a beacon of hope, her life a testament to the lessons she had learned. Each night, as the moon rose high above the forest, its soft glow spilling across the land, Leela would sit by her window with Onyx by her side. The whispers still danced on the breeze, but now they were no longer a mystery. They were a song she knew by heart, a melody of courage, kindness, and the boundless power of dreams.